What's up, guys? It's Mr. Stark. I want to show you a couple cool things about tape measures as well as how to read a tape measure. So first, this is probably my favorite tape measure. It's a little 16-foot FatMax. It's great because it's small, it's lightweight, compact, durable. It has a huge expanse where you can go about 7-8 feet before this thing bends and breaks, which is really nice. I'll show you that in a second here. Kind of see what's going on here. Right now I'm at 8 feet fully extended, and it's still not bending over and breaking. And you could probably go as much as 9 feet. 9 feet's probably the max. That's a cool feature. It's not very brittle like most tape measures. The other cool thing about this tape measure that I really like, besides being small and compact, is it's very useful if you're on the job and you're taking measurements and you're up on a ladder. So pretend I just took a measurement. And what I could probably do, so if I don't want to forget my measurement, I could take a dry erase marker, and maybe my measurement was 13 3/4. And I didn't want to forget that. Maybe I had a bunch of measurements that I'm trying to write down that I don't want to forget. And I could then just retract the tape measure, go back down, make my cuts, look at my measurement, see that it's still there, and then I could then simply just erase it with my finger because it's a dry erase marker and it doesn't leave a permanent blotch on the tape measure. Very useful for, going up and down ladders and not having to bring a piece of paper and forgetting your measurements. Most other tape measures don't have that blank side, so that's what's nice about that. The other cool thing about the FatMax, like all tape measures have, there's this little tab that moves, your little handle here. And although it may seem like it's broke, it's really not, because the thickness of this hook is the same thickness that's within those screws, that little bit of play that's in there. So whether you're pushing or pulling, you get the same 1/16 of an inch deduct or add. So if I'm pushing up my tape measure to something, it moves in. If I'm hooking onto an edge, it pulls out, and that allows that to be an accurate measurement. The next cool thing about this tape measure, obviously, is it's easy to read. You clearly see in this video that if we were to measure at 4 to 5, you've got clearly defined 1/8 inch marks, clearly defined 1/4 inch marks, even though it's not written. And then you've also have the 1/16 of an inch mark. So if we count here, that's 1/16, 2/16, which would be 3/16, 4/16, so on and so forth. 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4. Then same thing. So if you're wondering how to read all these little dashes, they're specifically designed so that they increase in size according to what we're looking at. So go over that again. 1/16 inch mark, 1/8 inch, 1/16, 1/4, 1/16, 3/8, and then we go up to 1/2 inch. So all tape measures have that. It's not that it's that hard to read. You just have to know where your 1/8, 1/4, and 1/2 inch marks are. The other cool thing, once again, about this particular tape measure that I like, is all tape measures have a little measurement that's written somewhere on the base or underneath it. I'll give you a better example with this one. This one sits perfectly flat. It's got that little nub, which is great for your hand to kind of hold on to. It's perfectly placed. But all of them have that little measurement underneath. You got to look for it. This one's written on the rubber. It says 3.5 inches. And you probably can't see it in this video, but it does say 3.5. And what that simply means is if my tape measure is sitting flat like this, and if I'm measuring up to something, I could leave it on the floor, and let's just pretend that my measurement is exactly 21 up to the ceiling. It's really 24.5 because from that mark down to the base is 3.5 inches. So that gives you an accurate measurement from floor to ceiling things, or from maybe the inside of a window or something. And this way you don't have to bend the tape measure to get that accurate measurement. All of them have it on it. You got to look for it somewhere. Another thing about this tape measure that's similar to the other ones, if we put this down for a second, you'll also see This one too clearly has the tab that goes in and out. It's got a hook tab on top and it's got a hook tab on the bottom. So if your tape measure is upside down, you've got this here. If it's right side up, you've got this on the bottom. And both pieces move based on the thickness of the tape measure. So that's important to know. Very handy to have that in there. Another cool thing about this Klein tape measure is the readings are also on the back. The downfall is you probably can't write anything on it because the FatMax has a blank side. But this is nice, so if you're hooking on one side like this, or if you're hooking on this side, you can clearly see the numbers. Pretty cool. The other cool thing about this is it has conduit bending multipliers. You can see it there, conduit bending multiplier. And if you've been doing conduit bending at all, our multiplier is the number that we use to measure our distance between bends on offsets. And you can see the 10 degree, it's marked there. And it also gives you the shrink. The 15 degree is marked and it gives you the shrink. The 22 degree multiplier is marked with the shrink, and it also gives you the 30 degree multiplier and the 45. That's handy because a lot of us do conduit bending and we forget what those numbers are. Another cool thing about this particular tape measure, although it's a little bit bigger, it is a 25 footer. You know, it's fully coated in rubber and it's, you know, not 100% shock proof, but it's pretty durable. If you are using your tape measure to maybe use it as a compass, all tape measures have that little hole right in the base, and that's really for hooking onto things. So I can hook onto a screw and it'll keep me in one place, and it allows me to not need a partner to hold on to my tape measure, so I can hook onto something. They all have that. Also, most tape measures have a scribing point. I'll show it to you on this one. This is also a Klein tape measure. A little bit flimsier, but if you look at the tip, it's got a little serrated edge on it. And maybe you're trying to mark the wall with that because you don't have a pencil, so you can kind of scribe the surface and it leaves a nice little mark to let you know where your measurement was. And once again, this thing goes in and out too. It's supposed to do that, not a defect. The downfall about this tape measure is it's pretty flimsy. You're not going to get the same span distance as the FatMax, but this one is small. It's compact. It's still 25 feet, but if you hold up the small little FatMax to this is only 16 feet and this is 25 feet. Almost the same small, you know, size. But out of all the tape measures, I think the best one is probably the FatMax. That's just my favorite. And last but not least, sorry about the movement, some of these have a magnet on the tip, so it's nice to know that if you've got a magnetized tip on the end of your tape measure, you can do a variety of things with this tip. You can grab things that are missing. It'll magnetize to different metals so that it hooks the tape measure where you need it. It'll help take shavings out of electrical panels. Maybe you've drilled out a panel and you left a bunch of metal shavings. It'll help clean up the shavings. So the magnet tip is always a nice feature to have. So in summary and closing, if we had to look at how to read a tape measure again, let's just take a look at this for a quick second. Maybe something is, 5 inches and we're trying to read a blueprint, and if you're dealing with an 1/8 inch scale, well, we know that maybe it says 1/8 of an inch equals a foot. So every 1/8 of an inch equals 1 foot in the field. Well, we know that that's our 1/8 inch mark. This is our 1/4 inch mark. This is our 1/2 inch mark. And then it does it again on the other side. So it's not that hard. It's basic stuff. I think the more important things are the little handy dandy things that you can have on tape measures, like writing down measurements on the back of your tape measure. Maybe 7 inches, and then you've got another measurement that's 9 inches. You've got another measurement that's 11 inches. Whatever it is that you're measuring, and knowing that you don't need the paper, you can just wipe it off when you're done. That's why I'm a fan of the FatMax. Anyways, that's it. Hopefully you learned a little something from this. See you at the next video.